brain scan technology was part born from the need to flush out cancer cells hiding among healthy tissues. Brain scan technology has its roots in the discovery of I, Rabbi, a discovery that atomic nuclei, when exposed to a strong enough magnetic field, can't help but be revealed. Have you ever had an operation on your head? Have you ever had an operation on your heart? Did you learn anything today? Atomic nuclei can't help but be revealed. Drawn to the outer edges in a perfect formation, symmetrically immobilized in time's brief suspension, like a dandelion clock, preserved in a glass jar, protected from the wind, or an eager child's breath. But in the next, the lid is unscrewed, the clock blown apart, and your atoms spread like dandelion seedlings, blindly searching for new ground. Without the glue, there is no shape. There is no shape without the glue. For a poem to be free, it must have form. For a brain to be free, it must have brains can be compared to convoluted balls of yarn with the power to pluck their threads loose or further tighten their knots. When other mothers ask their children after school, "Did you learn anything today?" I, Rabbi, remembers his asking, "Did you ask a good question today?" Brains can be thought of as instinctively constructed webs, with the eye in the center, waiting to pull in whatever flies too close. And at any moment, something can cut through the distance. In a single fell stroke, you're swaying in the breeze, unmoored from all your anchors, not knowing which way is up or down. It seems that we're always constructing things in order to have something to knock down. Brains can prove a consensus room of white coats all wrong. Brains can compound lived events into nervous asymmetry. Without the glue, there is no shape. Did you learn anything today? Did you ask any good questions today? Who is watching the door? Brains can be wielded, but as a double-edged sword. I won a Nobel Prize in physics for his discovery He was also present at the Trinity test, the first successful detonation of a nuclear weapon. Brain scans exist because a chorus of brains can, when aligned to a common aim, feverishly working in the confines of many individual skulls, deliver a better world. What is the brain? But a mediating sponge between the soul's excess and the human limit. The human limit. Rough and tumble scrap as a man collecting cards. For every bill as a spectator as armed to the last. For every malfeasance there's a poet chewing last shards. The self-luminosity of 1,000 strangers, gathered to feast on the spectacle. Following the successful detonation, the Manhattan Project created 2 atomic bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man. Of course, a slight falling casts a shadow. The opposite is also true. Many brains can, in a burning protest against their boxed-in state, tear open the wound in a desperate bid to escape. In short, brains can destroy or create, and often both at the same time. Brains can be sharpened to focus on a specific corridor, or they can be swung wildly, leaving the world into many parts indiscriminately. Brains can outmaneuver prophecy, and at the bloom of an epiphany, evolve into a new fate. Brains can conjure up images of possibility in far-flung states that at first seem impossible, not yet manageable with reality. But delusion is only delusional until it works. Delusion is only delusional until it works. Delusion is only delusional until it works. Brains cannot function without a heart. Brains can experience every emotion under the sun and out of the sun. Brains can tear a terrorist's wrist apart before he lights the fuse. Have you ever had an operation on your head? Have you ever had an operation on your heart? Brains can turn childhood hopes into paving stones, and grizzly bears into doormats, and unpenetrated outsiders into storybook characters, where the villain over here is the interventionist miracle over there, depending on who you ask. Brains can make a marathon or light work of any task, depending on who you ask. Little boy and fat man were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Brains can furnish or lay bare, sew or lay waste. Brains can undress the world to its primitive place or throw up 1,000 costumes. A brain firing alone is a wavering but constant candle. Brains firing together are revolution. The combined impact claimed the lives of 120,000, faster than a child can blow a dandelion clock apart. Brain scanning technology has saved the lives of millions. Brains can be an entry or an exit wound, depending on who you ask. Brains can arm a terrorist or tear the terrorist's wrist apart before the fuse is lit. We are the divine detritus, riding the fuselage's slipstream of a greater authority's unfolding dream. Brains can turn common sense into superstition. Brains can power Lone Rangers, imagine alternative futures, or refuse to yield, like the stubborn captain who, over-egging the call of duty, ties himself to the mast of a sinking ship. Have you ever had an accident involving metal fragments penetrating your eyes or body? For example, shrapnel, welding or grinding materials, or bullets. Have you ever had an operation on your head? Have you ever had an operation on your heart? Without the glue there is no shape. There is no shape without the glue. Did you learn anything today? Did you ask any good questions? Brain scans exist because a chorus of brains can, feverishly working in the confines, deliver a better world. Brains can be a deadlock or a turning handle. Brains can be a black box or a life in solitary confinement. Brains can illuminate cave paintings or hole up alone. Brains can be a back door into the flight recordings of others gone before, or a means to convince yourself you're a world of one, drifting through space. Brain scans have saved the lives of millions. relatives look up, and the skull shock no one, at he who they've called the broken one, whose teeth are hardly set right, whose heart is cast askew, and rather than answer his name, he replies, well, what about you? And continues in his strange affair, under the pressure of her collective power. Later in his life,
Thank you.